Hello everybody and welcome back. On this second part, we're gonna do the tuning of the gun after adding the new external adjustable regulator and also the power plenum. I hope you really enjoy, so without further ado, let's jump into the video. Before we start tuning the gun, let me just try to explain briefly what are we trying to accomplish. I have the regulator set at around 100 bar. This tune is going to be for efficiency. I'm not going for power. Some people will tune the gun to get more power. At this moment, I don't need more power. I'm just shooting from home. And the JSBs that I'm using right now, I'm getting some pass through. Also, I notice sometimes the JSB are doing spiral, so I will see if I can minimize those. But again, this tune can be changed at any point. So what are we trying to do? So with the tune, what we are trying is to balance the tension in the hammer spring with the regulator pressure. So at any given regulator pressure, there is only one specific tension that will create a perfect balance between the hammer, the force that the hammer is hitting the valve, and the pressure that we had at the regulator. If we change at any point the pressure on the regulator, we're going to lose the balance that we had in the hammer spring, and we need to retune or find a new point of balance so the system is efficient. This is not strictly necessary. You can go without adjusting the regulator, and you can go modify the hammer spring tension and try to find more power, less power, by just adjusting the hammer spring tension. But if you do that, you won't be on the right balance. Maybe the pressure that you have on the regulator require more force on the hammer, or maybe require less force. So what we are gonna do right now is actually finding the right balance for the low pressure that I have on this regulator. There is one thing that I want to share that I learned recently, and I think it's really important, and it's specific to this gun, to the Priest. This gun has two versions, and this is the high power. One of the things that this version comes is with the external adjustable regulator. And this regulator from factory comes at around 150 bar. The other version of the gun comes with the regulator that is not adjustable. You cannot modify the pressure on that regulator, and it's a regulator that comes at 125 bar. So as you can see, we have two different pressures. So when the gun comes from the factory, depending on which version you get, you will get a different spring. And also in this version, it's not just a different spring, but there is also a weight. So why is this important? This is important because now we are going to tune a gun that came with the spring and a weight for the regulator set at 150 bar, and now we are trying to go lower than that. No matter what adjustment I do on the hammer spring with this setting from factory on this gun, at the regulator pressure of 100 bar, I wasn't able to modify the speed at all. So I was getting no variation on the speed because the regulator was so low, and the gun has a weight and a spring designed for a 150 bar. The hammer was hitting hard all the time, so I was max no matter what setting I do on my hammer spring tension. Let me just show you what I just explained. Here I have the rifle at 100 bar with the regulator set at 100 bar, and I will do a couple of shots over the chronograph while adjusting the hammer spring tension, and then I just want to show you what happened with the speed. So let's do the first shot. 848. Let's do another one. 845. Now, I will back up the hammer spring tension. Actually, I'm gonna give like one turn and a half. It's actually sticking out. I don't know if you can see here. So, but it's pretty loose. So the speed should drop. 840. See, it didn't drop much. And we go back to 844. So that means what I was saying earlier, the hammer is hitting hard the valve because we had the weight. Now let me go the other way really quick. So you see, with the press, if you go too much, the velocity will stop dropping because you are hitting really hard and the valve will close. But you see, next shot is 846. So we are around 845, 852. Yeah, even when it moved, it was a lot to turn here, so we really don't have a lot of range to adjust with this setup, with this spring, and with this weight. In order to fix this, RTI response was, let's try removing the weight. Ideally, it would be just using the other spring without the weight, but because I don't have the other spring, let's just remove the weight. So let's go ahead and do that and then test again. To remove the weight and also to access the spring, we just have to remove these 4 screws here with a number 2 Allen wrench. Let's do that. With the 4 screw removed, now you can take the back off. And here you can see the spring. Let's take the spring out. Here you see the spring. Ideally, this is the spring that we will need to change with something else. I hope at some point RTI offers this spring in the lower pressure version so we can use the proper spring. So now you need to remove the weight. So a quick tip is you can just cock the gun and you will see the hammer sticking out here, coming back. So you just remove the hammer and inside you will have the weight. Let me just show you real quick. And this is what we need to remove, the weight, right? To put it back, just put the hammer in place, push it, but you will notice you are not going to be able to push it all the way back. There is a safety mechanism that you need to press the trigger. Let's do that. I just pull in the trigger and now you're going to be able to push the hammer back. Just replace the spring without the weight and now you can put this part together. Let's do that. And that's all. Like this, we just have removed the weight. I really hope at some point in the future RTI can offer the different spring on Ergon of Arizona or some place that you can buy like a kit, a tuning kit. Maybe you wanted the low power and the high power version so they can offer the weight. Imagine people going from the standard model to high power. They will need this weight, they will need this spring, and then other way too, right? I just want to go for efficiency. And talking about efficiency, I just want to give you a quick number. When I did the first test with this weight, I noticed that I just did 6 shots. And in 6 shots, I used 25 bar on my regulator. This is a really inefficient way to run the system. The only way to make it efficient will be, at this point, with the weight, using what we already know will be increasing the regulator pressure, because then you are finding that balance. But we are trying to find the balance in the lower pressure. So let's go ahead and test what we can do without the weight to try to find the balance. Let's go back to the chronograph. All right, now that we don't have the weight, let's see if by adjusting the hammer spring tension we see any variation on the speed. Let's do a couple of shots. 859. All right, let's back it up now and see if this have any effect on the speed. So I did like half a turn, one full turn. Let's try it now. $831. Yeah, as we can see, the speed is dropping. All right, so with this, we can tune for efficiency, because now we have a range of motion that we can apply here, so we can find the balance. As I said before, the system as it was really inefficient. I was using around 5 bar per shot. So what is the procedure? We need to find the maximum speed, and we already know that we were around 850. So the ideal is, once we know the maximum speed that we can do with the regulator pressure and the hammer spring tension, then we start backing up the tension until we see the speed dropping around 30 feet per second from that maximum. So that being said, we were like around 850, sometimes 845. So 30 feet per second less. We are trying to see a speed at around 820, around that speed. I don't know if I will be able to get that speed, but that's the procedure, because again, this is the spring that is designed for the other regulator, not for the low pressure regulator. So with that in mind, let's do a couple of shots and see if we can hit 820 with this setting. So we are at 830 around with this setting. Let me just move the hammer spring tension just like a quarter turn and see what effect we get here, because we are getting close to the so that one was 835. Move it back again. $820. Let's repeat that, because that's the speed that I want. $826. $127. I think we probably need to back it up a little more. Again, I don't know if this will have the effect, because this spring is not the one designed for the gun. If I'm not able to reach 120, probably I will eventually increase the regulator a little bit so I can get. Oh, that one was 807. All right. It looks like we are going to be able to go lower 100. 820. 810. I think we are below 810. Let's just adjust a little bit more power. $816. $820. $818. $820. I think we are right there. I'm liking it now. $821. I think we are in the right spot right now. I'm not using a lot of air right now. I think the gun is now doing exactly what I wanted. So we have found the maximum speed, which was around 850 for the regulator pressure, and then we have been backing up the tension in the hammer spring, and now we are in around 820. So let me do a couple of shots just to validate, but also what I'm looking here is the amount of air that I'm using. So 8, 19, this is looking good. 8, 17. Yeah, I don't see the pressure going down now as much as it was going down before. $823. $823. $828. That one went a little bit high. $818. I think it's perfect. And well, everybody, now you know how I tune the gun. I think it's a really important concept to know, because as you can see, just few feet per second can make a huge difference in performance on the gun. I will go ahead next and I will do a shot string to see how many usable shots I get with this setup, but I'm really expecting to be more than 100 shots. I will probably put it in the description below. Also, I really hope in the future RTI offers a kit for high power or low power for the regulator pressure now that the power planner is out, so people can decide how they want to tune the gun. I don't know if today those are available, but I couldn't find the spring anywhere. I will contact RTI just to see if I can get the spring for the lower version, because I will think it will run even better on the gun. Alright everybody, and that's everything that I have for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If this is the first time in the channel, consider subscribing, because that's by far the best way that you can support the work. See you on the next video, and be safe. Bye.